Hi everyone, we're live. I hope everyone hears me just well. All right, so as usual, we're looking at gold. And at the same time, we're looking at silver. I am in some kind of a short trade right here. My entry was just about here. Okay, and my stop loss is just going to go, I think, above the fair value gap that you see here marked with gray. I'm not really sure if price is intending to go any further down than this fair value gap here. I'm on the 5 minutes, by the way. The reason for this trade is because if we go to the 1 hour chart, we're going to see that gold has swept the buy side liquidity above these relatively two equal highs over here, whereas silver did not reach that area, which is over here. Of course, that means that we had an SMT divergence between gold and silver, which looks like this. So gold made a higher high, whereas silver made a lower high. Now, after gold makes that higher high, we wait for price to give us some sort of sign that the buy side liquidity that it swept above that high is going to be used to bear it with smart money short orders. And that usually is going to come in the form of creating a bearish fair value gap, which we created over here. Okay, now the purple thingy that you see there, it's a fair value gap from the 1 hour, which so far, according to my rules, it became an inversion fair value gap, but not on the 1 hour actually, because in order for it to become an inversion fair value gap on the 1 hour time frame as well, we need to wait for price to close under it on the 1 hour, which so far it did not happen because the current 1 hour candles due to close in more than 40 minutes. Okay, but considering the things that I've already talked about, which is the SMT divergence, the fair value gap, and the rejection off of that fair value gap, I believe that there is a high probability that price might actually want to go lower and rebalance this fair value gap that it left here behind. This trade is not really going to give us a 2R as I would normally want to. And this time I'm not going to consider putting my stop loss higher than the entry candle because it should not want to go inside this fair value gap again. Okay, it really, there's no reason why price might want to go back inside that fair value gap after it rebalanced it and then it rejected off of it, unless it actually just wants to go the opposite direction. And it obviously, if it does that, I just don't want to be in the trade. Okay, now, if you guys have questions, as usual, you already know, you can ask them in the chat. I'm more than glad to answer. There's 39 people watching right now. It's not a great start, but it's a start. But I only see 2 people liking the stream. Why aren't you guys liking the stream? I would really love to see you liking the stream. Okay, because otherwise I'm going to consider that I'm just wasting my time doing these live streams because no one seems to find value or appreciate them or something like that. And it just makes sense, right? If people don't like what you post, it means they don't like what you post, you know? Anyway, so again, guys, I'm here to answer your questions. So if you have any, just go ahead and ask them. Good afternoon from London. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, this is a live session. Someone says that I'm probably wasting my time. I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, you know what? I don't think I'm wasting my time. And the reason is because at the beginning, when I considered making these live streams, I think that I asked myself, why do I want to make these live streams? Do I think of myself as a very good educator and I think that I can educate people and that I can make them, I can teach them and this and that? And to be honest with you, even though I consider myself a good trader and also a good educator because I have the ability to articulate my ideas in a way that it's easy to understand by others, even though I do have this opinion about myself, I don't think that it's that these live streams actually have the capacity to educate the people who watch them, not necessarily, but they do educate myself. They educate me. So if I'm thinking that I'm doing these live streams, especially for myself, why? Because I want to remain accountable to someone else other than myself. So doing this publicly actually forces me to follow my own rules more than I would otherwise if I would just be myself in front of the charts. Also, I believe that it's a really good way for me to spend some of the time that I have available, because I can exchange ideas with people that watch these live streams, that some of you might actually give me some ideas in the chat. Some of you might actually just give me suggestions. Some of you might critique the way I make these live streams, and that's how I would know that, well, maybe there's something that I need to correct in the way that I express myself, in the way that I talk, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, if I think about this being the main reason why I'm making these live streams, which is for me, and if there is anyone else apart from me who would benefit from these, then by all means let them profit, or let them benefit. Then yeah, I think it's not a waste of time because it helps me, and it also creates some sort of a routine for me, like a better routine for me around trading, which maybe sometimes I'm just okay to not necessarily follow, like for example, specifically trading at a certain hour, starting my trading session at a certain hour. Maybe sometimes I do it at this hour, maybe sometimes 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later, but doing the live streams and you guys expecting me to be here at 9 a.m. New York time or around that hour, I think it's another great way for me to improve on my punctuality and on my, being in front of the charts at specific hours. So yeah, I don't think I'm wasting my time. Someone's asking, did you use the 1 hour SMT divergence to frame this 5 minute setup? Well, yeah, but also if we zoom out, or for example, if we go to the 15 minutes and just zoom out a bit, you're going to be able to see the divergence in here as well. Okay. Also, if I go to the 5 minutes, for example, we're going to see that there is some sort of a local, if you want to call it like this, or like an SMT divergence that happened just today, and it's here. You see? So again, gold is creating higher highs, whereas silver isn't. You see? And then after gold did that. So in my view, in my opinion, at this point, this was some sort of an accumulation, right? Area. And then price broke above it, so that was the manipulation, and then it's showing its actual intentions, right? There's a bigger probability that this is the thing that's going to happen. Is there an area lower that might actually be a magnet for price? And in my opinion, yes, there is this fair value gap here that I marked. And also there is the minor sell side liquidity that I've marked in here. So there are reasons for price to go lower. However, I do have to say that this is a counter trend trade. So okay, so my stop loss just got hit. So yeah, I guess we're out of this trade, right? So we got one loser for today. And I was asking, I was actually saying the other day, what do you do when a trade goes the opposite direction and it takes you out? Do you, like for example, the moment your stop loss is hit, do you immediately jump in the opposite side of the trade? Like for example, I had a short right now and the stop loss got hit, right? So I'm out of the trade with a loss. Do I immediately jump in a buy because I'm thinking, well, if my bearish setup was invalidated because it took out my stop loss, is only normal for me to open a bullish setup, to open a bullish trade? And the answer is no, I don't do that, and I don't recommend you guys to do that. An invalidated bearish setup doesn't necessarily mean that you have a bullish setup. Actually, it almost never means that you have a bullish setup, okay? Do not confuse an invalidated bearish setup with a confirmed bullish setup, because so far, I don't see a bullish setup going on right here. Because in order for me, according to my rules, to have a bullish setup, I need to have SMT divergence at lows. So in other words, I should see, for example, gold creating a higher low and silver creating a lower low. I don't see that. Okay, so far they're pretty correlated. So I don't have an SMT. And besides this, after I would have the SMT, I would also want to see that SMT being validated by a fair value gap, a bullish fair value gap. And in this case, I don't have that. Okay, I don't have any of it. So even though my bearish setup was taken out, it doesn't actually mean that my whole bearish trade idea got invalidated. The whole bearish trade idea would be invalidated, in my opinion, only when price would break above this high. Okay, only then. If that would happen, then my idea would shift bullish again, and I would consider that the manipulation was actually this move to the downside. Okay, and then I would wait for some sort of setup to occur, which is what? SMT, fair value gap, and then I would look to go long, targeting like a higher time frame, area that has not been tapped yet or whatever. But so far, even though my stop loss got hit for my bearish setup, it doesn't mean that right now I'm looking to take long trades, because I don't have a long trade, or I don't have a long setup. Okay, that's developing right now. Okay, so I'm really curious, you guys, to know where you guys are from in the chat. So in the chat, I see here someone's from the UK, someone's from Lithuania. I also have a fellow Romanian here. Hi, Alex from JA. JA. What could JA be? I would say Jamaica, but I'm not really sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So yeah, I'd really love to know, guys, where are you from? Okay, so we got Indonesia, we got Norway, we got Malaysia, we got South Africa, US, South Africa again, Rwanda, Greece, Poland. Oh my God. Sarawak. I don't even know what that is, and I feel ashamed. Okay, so Richard confirmed JA is Jamaica. Yeah. You guys, it's amazing. You see? Thailand. Wow. There's just Colombia. Oh my God. So the whole planet is here. We could say that we have someone from pretty much each continent, I think. Or most continents. But yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Serbia. Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so guys, questions. Let's see. We have some new questions here. Let's see. Questions. La 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 la. Will we also consider the premium range if we want to sell after buy-side sweep? Yeah, you can definitely do that. But if we were to consider, like, this is the price leg, right? That created the SMT and also the fair value gap, okay? So if I would consider right now, I would not see any bearish fair value gap that's in the premium range of this price leg. There's this one. Let me just remove the purple one. There's this one, right? Also remove this, right? Because we already know I took a loss and whatever. So there's this fair value gap, which is in discount, okay? But it doesn't mean that if it's in discount, price might be unable to respect it, okay? Just because it's in discount. So there's still a possibility that the price will actually just go down from here, right? Now, the way in which I would reconsider taking a short trade at this point is to see right now, maybe I'm thinking that we could have this. Silver is going to go above this high, okay, whereas gold will not. So gold is just going to keep on meandering around this 50% area. And it's also just, it's for now, it invalidated the fair value gap, but it might reclaim it, you know, as in if the current candle is going to start to close bearish, or it's just going to close back inside the range of the fair value gap. And at the same time, we see silver going up, sweeping buy side, and then showing signs of rejection. And at the same time, I would have a new SMT. So this new SMT, how would that look like? So let me show you. So we would have a lower high for gold. Gold still finding resistance inside this fair value gap. And then we would have a higher high or relatively equal highs on silver. And then after silver would take out the buy side liquidity or whatever, it would actually show a sign of rejection. Sign of rejection is what? Creating a resistance. What is a resistance? A bearish candle that's formed after a bullish candle, okay? So we still need to wait at least 8 more minutes. Why? Because there's 3 minutes until the current candle will close. And then we have to wait for an additional 1 more 5-minute candle to close to see if it's going to close bearish as a sign of silver rejecting from this buy side area, and also gold kind of like respecting the bearish fair value gap in here. So there's time for us to wait. Okay. Okay, how to select the right asset when there is SMT? Which one is strong or weak? I don't consider that, honestly. I just look at the setup and, you know, look at it under the light of logic. So, like I said, if I see gold creating a higher high, you might say that gold is actually stronger. So there is no reason for me to short it, right? But if I see gold creating a higher high, and then after that, while silver is creating a lower high, and after gold created a higher high, I would see gold creating a bearish fair value gap, rebalancing that fair value gap and then rejecting off of it, then I would consider that when gold went up to make a higher high, it was actually manipulation, okay? I would consider it as a liquidity sweep. And I would consider the actual intended direction is given by the bearish fair value gap that was created afterwards. Okay, so in this case, if you see gold creating a higher high, you wouldn't think to short it, because creating higher highs, and obviously price might also be creating a higher low. That's a sign of strength, so you wouldn't really consider selling into a strong market, right? But that might actually be an option. Okay, so I'm not sure if this thing is going to remain in place, this possible SMT in here. I'm just going to remove it so that it won't confuse us, okay? Because it might not actually occur, okay? But we'll see. Now, looking at the 1-hour chart, there is a lot of buy-side liquidity that is really not taken out. And one of it is here. Okay, so that high and that high, definitely lower highs. And on silver, we've got this high and that one, definitely higher highs. Okay. So yeah, at this point, there is also buy side liquidity above here. So let's just mark that one as well. And be on the lookout to see whether price might actually get there and show some form of rejection. Okay, so at this point, going back to the 5 minutes chart, remember what I said a little earlier. I would consider that my bearish trade idea would be invalidated if price would go above this high, okay, above that high. And at this point, I do consider that the bearish trade idea was invalidated. Therefore, it means that this bearish fair value gap is now a blueberry. Remember, you guys remember what I said last time that I call a blueberry? To me, a blueberry is a bearish fair value gap that was inverted. It was turned into a bullish fair value gap. Now, apart from, you know, not having an actual entry to take this long trade, also apart from having taken a loss in here, that's not the actual thing that matters, okay? What matters is to actually understand the mechanics that move the markets. And what I want you to pay attention to right now is the how insignificant this area might have looked like for a lot of you, okay? And actually how powerful your analysis can become when you use SMT divergences. Doesn't matter if they're major, as in, session highs, lows, daily highs, lows, whatever, or if they're minor. Minor SMT divergence, to me, it means an SMT that occurs at the highs or the lows that are being randomly created inside a session or even outside a session, okay? So you see here that I marked this area with as being SMT sell side. And yeah, we see price just rejecting after it took out the sell side. And right now it seems to be going for untapped buy side liquidity that it's sitting above the marketplace. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. There's someone here from Uganda, from Lebanon, Bangladesh, Italy, oh my God, Kenya, Texas. Wow. Wow. What time frame do I start my top-down analysis? I don't do top-down analysis. I just look at usually the 1 hour chart. And then I take my entries on the 5 minutes. Did you use your drawing liquidity 1 hour time all the time, or you use session draw liquidity? It really depends. It really depends. As in the drawn liquidity, you shouldn't always look at the same levels or the same areas, okay? I mean, it really depends on how the chart looks like at that point. Thinking of what I could have done better right now with the short trade that I was in, I'm thinking maybe, because, this is a very valuable thing for you guys to do, to develop this as a habit, is the following. Whenever you take a trade, at the end of your trade, regardless of its outcome, try to think what you could have done better. It doesn't matter if your trade ended up in profit or it ended up in a loss, okay? You don't find an opportunity to improve your execution only if you look at the losing trades. You also can find opportunities to improve your execution or your trade management if you look at the winning trades. Okay, like for example, let's say that I would have taken whatever long trade in here because I would have traded based on whatever strategy or set of rules that would have told me, you have to buy. Okay, and I would be in profit right here. And then if I get out at this high right there, okay, and then I see price continuing to go higher for an additional 40 pips, $4 more, okay? Or maybe it might actually continue to go higher. I don't know, okay? But I got out at a certain level, which right now I'm seeing that I got out early, okay? I might think of ways to improve my trade management in this case, right? So I need to ask myself questions as what could I have looked for in order to have a confirmation of the fact that price might actually be willing to continue further higher beyond that level where I actually took profit, okay? So then you could engage, for example, strategies or things like, well, you drop down to the 1 minute and then you see how does price look like when it breaks above that high where you initially took profit. Okay, and now you consider that you took profit too early. And then you could see, well, I see price breaking above that high with a decisive candle, leaving a fair value gap behind. It showed some form of, maybe creating some sort of a resistance right here by creating that bearish candle. But after that, price continued to go up. So by waiting just an additional 2 more minutes in here, you might actually not necessarily exclude the idea of taking profit altogether because, within these 2 minutes, price might actually just reverse on you and do that, right? And you didn't take profit and now you're going to scratch your eyes because, oh my God, why didn't I take profit? I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying that maybe you can find ways that might have made you keep a runner, that might have made you maybe take half of your trade off in profit, or maybe might have made you just move your stop loss at break even or even trail your stop loss, therefore opening yourself up for the possibility of leaving your trade run for more pips. Okay, that's also a way to look at your trades and find ways to improve not only on your executions but also on your trade management. I promise you, if you're going to do this and you're going to take notes, and from one trade to the other, you're going to see that you're making the same mistake, like for example, not leaving a runner or not giving room for your trade to maybe go more in profit. When you look at lower time frame signs that might actually confirm, might help you get the confirmation that price could actually continue more in your favor. I promise you, if you're going to see this happening on a recurrent basis, right? If you're going to see that out of 5 setups, you do this with every 3 setups, right? So every 5 setups, you do this 3 times. You already have a 60% rate of chipping your profit due to the same doing the same thing. And you might actually see that with every of these 3 trades where you did the same thing, but you might have actually had a bigger profit, you might see that you could have used the same exact thing, the same exact sign that I've just explained on a 1 minute to identify whether it's worth for you to leave your trade open for more or not. Okay? Because if you find patterns, if they're good, you just have to do more of them. And if you find patterns that are bad, then you know what to stop. And if you find patterns that if you bend them, twist them, modify them according to some factors, might actually bring you a bigger reward, then it's time for you to make that modification. Okay? I hope this helps. Someone's asking, why would you look for sells if monthly, weekly, and most recent daily and 4-hour and 1-hour previous session is clearly bullish? Because I had a setup for that. That's why. SMT should only be used for confluence, not higher time frame framework to determine bias, in my opinion. Perfect. Then if you have your own opinion about trading, you shouldn't be here in this live stream. I don't know, I'm just saying. Bias is something else. Every SMT has its own purpose. Definitely. Absolutely. But how would you know? How can you guess? How can you know exactly what's the purpose of every SMT? You can't. So if I can't determine the changing nature of something, okay, in this case, how would I know what's the purpose of this SMT, and how would I know what's the purpose of the other SMT, and whatever, okay? Because I can assure you, it's never going to look the same, okay? So if I cannot determine, objectively speaking, if I cannot determine the nature of something, because it just changes, depending on factors that I might not see, they might not be visible to me, I might just not notice them, observe them, right? Then it means that in order for me to still be able to use that thing as a confirming, as a decisive factor for my trades, it means that I need to make a compromise, if you want, and only use a certain logic for that thing. And it means that more often than not, I will be right, but at the same time, sometimes I might not be right. And you have to be okay with that. Yes, the SMT plus fair value gap method on the 5 minutes is not bulletproof, you guys. It's not. Okay? But what matters at the end of the day is that more often than not, it ends up going in profit. Okay? That's what you should keep in mind. We also got someone from Australia. Someone said, what about moving stop loss to break even once 1R is reached? That's what I use. Definitely, we can definitely do that. Only that in my case, for my short trade, the trade never went 1R in profit. It went slightly in profit and then it went to stop loss. So that's a very good thing to do. I really encourage you to do that. I think I've actually said in some previous live streams that I also do that sometimes. And yeah, it's a very good way to do it. And I don't think that you're not leaving room for your trade to potentially develop any further. Okay. I want to see if there are some other questions that I didn't answer. Will you consider doing live session during London session? I honestly don't know. I don't know. Usually during the London session, I am at the gym or, just doing other stuff for myself, for my well-being. I read, I don't know, I just relax or maybe. But normally I try as much as possible. I've been trying lately to stay out of trades during the London session. Not because I consider that the London session is not beneficial for trading, but I feel like I want to start my days in a different way, like doing things that nurture me and not necessarily just jumping in first thing in the morning. Because just so you understand, when the London kill zone actually starts, it's 7 or 8 a.m. here in Romania, right? So I just have maybe 2-3 hours since I woke up. Or sometimes I'm just going to wake up, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours before the kill zone starts. And I don't have enough time to, relax in the morning, read something, grab a coffee, go to the gym and do all of this and then come home eat something, and then do all of this in 2 hours so that I can also be ready for streaming on the London kill zone. So not really for now. I stopped trading for now on the London kill zone. I rarely look at charts right now, and I'm just gonna try to stick to that routine as much as possible, because so far I feel that it's good for me. It's beneficial for me. Okay, how to select their, okay, I've already answered this question. For me, it's very important to practice and have the same approach on the market, to train the eye to see the same things as you. Okay, so you shouldn't necessarily want to train your eye to see the same things as me, because it's like, how do you know that maybe you won't see something good, that you might actually pass along and it might actually prove to solve some issues, some reasons for which losses are being taken sometimes. So here's the thing, guys, and you can apply this whenever, wherever, it really doesn't matter. Every time you think that there is no better way to do something, or every time you think that there is no better person than someone, or every time you think there is no other better way to do something, reconsider that thought, because I can assure you, if you remain open-minded to the possibility that you might actually see something or meet someone or experience something that turns out to be far better than whatever you experienced before, I can assure you that eventually that will turn into an experience lived by you. Okay, so don't ever consider that if you have a mentor who's profitable, you want to 100% mimic, copy and paste the way they see the market. Because the way I see the market, or the way someone else sees the market, or the way another mentor sees the market, doesn't matter how profitable, doesn't matter how big, the way we see the market individually is our own way. It's not the only way. Okay, that's why if you're going to browse on YouTube right now, you're going to find so many freaking live streams. Okay, so many freaking traders that are looking at trading gold. Okay, maybe someone did take this, a long trade in here. Maybe based on someone else's set of rules, they were able to see that, well, price ought to go up. Okay, and I didn't, and someone else didn't either, right? So there are just so many ways to skin a cat. Don't think that the way someone does it, it's the only way. And if you found someone that you like the way they think, you like the way they present ideas and whatever, okay, do your best to respect whatever that person is saying, but at the same time, try to remain open to maybe, seeing some other things that this person didn't see, and might actually help you personally to have an even smoother and better and more joyful journey in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay? You don't have to train your eyes to see the things in the exact same way as a person you appreciate is seeing, because then where are you in this whole situation? You still have to be there, and you have to bring your own input. And I can assure you, just remain open to whatever the market might actually want to show you. Yeah, it's all about probabilities, correctly. Price was reacting off the 1 hour fair value gap. That's why it went up. I had it marked. Yeah, it might be. I also had it marked in my chart at the beginning of this live stream. It was this one. Okay, and maybe some of you are going to say, well, no, Alex, it was this one. Yeah, it really doesn't matter, because you wouldn't have got in at the very bottom. Okay, but yeah, it's just at the beginning of the live stream I said that we might actually see this 1 hour fair value gap here, not necessarily being inverted, because it didn't get inverted on the 1 hour chart yet. And yeah, we can see that eventually happen, but that's fine. Okay, you have to be okay with taking losses. And if you're not, you need to really ask yourself, why am I not okay with taking losses? And oftentimes you're going to find that the reason why you're not okay with taking losses, because your losses are too big, right? Monetary speaking, like money wise, they're too big. You're losing too much money. And then if you discover this, you can ask yourself, okay, why am I losing so much money? Like, what can I do to lose less money than I would win on a winning trade? And then your mind is just going to give you the answer to that. You already know the answer, okay? It's either because you're opening trades on impulse and then you have a stop loss that's just too big and you don't adapt your lot size or your contract size to the size of your stop loss. That's why. Because you hope that the price will continue to go parabolically in your favor once you hit buy or sell button, and you just completely ignore the fact that you've opened 5 contracts and your stop loss is 100 pips or $10 on gold. Okay? And you completely ignore the fact that if this trade goes even 30 pips against you, you're going to lose a lot of money. Not to mention if it goes to wherever you might consider having your stop loss. That's why. So every time you see that you repeat a pattern that's not what you prefer it to be, or every time you see you have an outcome that you do not prefer, ask yourself, what am I doing wrong in here? What can I do to improve this? And trust me, you always know the answer. We've all been there. We've all overtraded. We've all been overconfident and opened a lot size that we couldn't afford. Okay? We've all done that. Just don't do it. Stop. Okay? Okay. Market doesn't care about your 1 hour, 2 hour stop loss should be moved behind logical places where price shouldn't come back, aka where trade idea gets invalidated. Absolutely. I never said anything opposing to this, right? That's why I said when we started this live stream that my stop loss goes right above my entry candle, which was here. Why? Because my entry candle almost completely, it was just slightly above the entry candle, right? 1-2 pips. My entry candle had almost completely rebalanced this fair value gap. So if the fair value gap got rebalanced and we just took buy side liquidity, right? I'm not thinking, well, this is a minor swing high. Maybe price will want to sweep that and then go down, right? So I might actually just put my stop loss a little bit higher, right? No, I'm not thinking like that. I'm just thinking, okay, based on how the market looks like right now, I do not think that price will come above the entry candle and then will want to reject back again, okay, to the downside. If it goes above the entry candle, most likely it's going to end up going higher, which is exactly what it did. So to me, putting the stop loss above the entry candle, which for me, it's my invalidation level of this setup, not of the whole bearish trade idea, okay? Because I might actually, maybe I might actually get a higher entry at a higher fair value gap around here. Okay? Maybe I could have gotten that. Maybe price would have just taken out my stop loss, which was here. It would have went up, still not invalidate that high. Okay, so still not invalidate my bearish trade idea altogether. And then maybe it would have rejected from there, right? And I could have had a better entry, but it still doesn't mean that I know with certainty that once price reaches into this fair value gap, it will automatically reject. I don't know that. So that's why I don't put stop loss like this. Okay, that's why I put stop loss usually above my entry candle. And when there is an order block that has not been touched by the entry candle or whatever price action prior to the entry candle, then I'm going to put it there. And in this case, prior to having this move to the upside, okay, when price looked like this, for me, the order block was this entire move to the upside. And I can see that my entry candle did touch that order block, which is here, okay? So that's why I considered it only normal, based on my rules, to put the stop loss above the entry candle. And once price went above there, I'm glad that I did not put the stop loss at a different level, because I'm short-term trading, okay? I'm not taking entries based on the 1 hour, okay? I don't look for 1 hour setups. I look at 1 hour price levels as potential point of interest areas, okay? Areas of interest where I might see a setup forming, but still the setup for me is going to form on the 5 minutes. So my setup will form off of 5-minute candles. I'm going to wait a few 5-minute candles until my setup is confirmed or invalidated. I'm not going to wait for 1 hour candles to close, because if I do that, I'm like I don't know, I think I'm swing trader. I might be a swing trader. I don't know. I don't even care, honestly. Okay, so the idea to moving stop loss break even mostly comes from scarcity, being scared of trade reversing, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might or it might not. Not really. Let's say, for example, just like we had the entry, right? Around here. Okay, and stop loss was like this, and I'm targeting this fair value gap over there. Okay, if price reaches to 1 hour, okay, 1 hour would be around here. Okay, I can look to the left side of the chart and see whether there is any possibility that price might consider, once breaking under this level of 1 hour, breaking under it, it might consider as a retest and a follow through, right? So let's say that in here to the left side, I would have had a fair value gap, which I did have, right? So this fair value gap that I had here, I'm just giving you an example, things to look for, okay? This fair value gap was rebalanced and then price went up, right? And after me taking my short setup, price would go down and would close under that previously rebalanced and rejected off of bullish fair value gap. And right now it closed under it. And in doing so, it also gave me at least 1 R, okay? Right now, I should not see price wanting to go back above that fair value gap and then continue to move lower. Okay, I should not see that happening. Okay, price, the most that it should do, should retest that and then continue to move lower. Okay, and it would not take my 1 R, my trade at break even, right? My stop loss at break even, it would not take that out. I hope it makes sense what I'm explaining. This again, these are the things in which I interpret, the ways in which I interpret price action. It doesn't mean it's the only way, okay? It doesn't mean it's the way you should do it. It's just the way that I decided to go with it. It's that simple. Okay, let's see if there are other questions. And if you did not like the stream, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Or, a thumbs down if you don't like it. Both ways are pretty much accepted, and I won't mind. Okay, so for those of you who are looking for a prop firm, I use FundedNext. I don't use another prop firm. Never used another one. It's the first prop firm that I used, and it's just been sticking with it ever since. You'll find a link somewhere in the description of the live stream if you guys want to check their trading rules, their trading conditions, their challenge faces, and whatever. They do pay. They're serious about it. They do have good rules. And the pricing, I don't know, the pricing to me, it's okay, right? It's not over, like, it's not utterly expensive, and it's not too discounted so that you would start asking, okay, well, it's just weird that it's that cheap. Okay, guys. Anyone else with questions? Come on. I don't believe that no one else has questions. Okay, apparently no one else has questions. Okay, let's see what we might actually be considering further. So at this point, I really wouldn't know what to look for. Okay, I don't have a bias. I think, or it might actually continue to push higher to this 2930-ish area, or not. The reason I'm saying it might not necessarily want to do that, it really depends on what current price action is going to do over here, because if we look at silver swept this entire VISAT area. You see that whole area over here, and gold did not yet. But what I'm thinking is that we're not really seeing a rejection on silver. So in this case, gold might be just moving a little bit slower than silver, and we might actually see gold reaching higher. Looking at the 4-hour, what do we have on the 4-hour? Okay, there's still a lot of room to go higher, you guys. Yeah, definitely a lot of room to go higher. So 2930, there's also relatively equal highs over there. Okay. And based on my rules, I just don't have an entry. Okay? Based on my rules, I don't have an entry. And it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to be okay with not getting an entry based on the things that you want to look out, that you want to look for. I'm just going to remove all these drawings over here. Okay. You know, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted something that 2 months ago, for Christmas. It was Christmas. I actually went to an orphanage. It was an event that was sponsored by FundedNext. That's why I'm saying that if you guys are looking for a reliable prop firm, I think FundedNext, it's really here to stay, because they're really implicated not only into providing good value for their customers, for their clients, but I also see them really implicated into giving back to communities, less favored communities. And they contacted me back in December and asked me if I want to be their representative and go to an orphanage here in my country, and bring some gifts and some, spend a day with the kids from there. And it was actually really enjoyable. I really enjoyed the time there. So I think there's a video on FundedNext's YouTube channel. You're gonna find it if you go to YouTube on FundedNext. You're gonna find it there. It's just it really, when you see a firm committed into doing more than just taking money from the clients, you actually realize, and you have a confirmation of the actual intentions of that company, which these intentions are not necessarily to just make money and that's it. They actually just want to build a sustainable business that includes being aware of the fact that sometimes there is this need to give back, like I said, to less favored communities, and it just tells a lot about their purpose, which to me, seeing a firm doing this, I think it really confirms a lot about the quality of the people running the company, which, yeah, to me, it's an important thing, honestly. I don't know if it is to you, but to me it is. If I'm going to spend my money to pay for a challenge account, and maybe this is not maybe, but to me, this is not necessarily the biggest the biggest expense, right, that I would consider that I have when I'm buying a challenge account, when I'm just going with a certain prop firm's products, right? It's not the fact that I pay money. That's not my main expense. My main expense would be to see that I am investing my time to pass the challenge, to make profit, to reach a payout, and then seeing that the prop firm it's just starts to give me all sorts of reasons why they would not actually consider paying me. Okay, if I would see that, yeah, I wouldn't really like that. So to me, that's a factor that really brings my attention to that prop firm, and it builds trust. What can I say? To me, it builds trust. Okay. You guys, so remember that I was saying the last time I was saying that maybe we should put some music. I haven't got a chance to look into that. Oh my God, sorry. And I feel like there's a lot of dead space in here, but I promise that with our next live session, which is going to be tomorrow, and I'm making a promise. Oh my God. I promise that I'm going to put some music. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. But for now, we just have to stay like this without music. Questions. Let's see. There's going to be news in... No, I think this is an older message that there's going to be news in 1 minute. Yeah, there's definitely an older message. Is FundedNext trusted? Yes, very much. Very much. I really recommend you guys to look into them. You can also take like a demo challenge where you don't necessarily pay. I mean, you don't pay, okay? You just get like a totally demo challenge account just to get used to their conditions, to their trading conditions. In my opinion, the best account that you could take is the Stellar 2-Step Challenge. I'm not that much into looking at challenges that are just one step. I understand that while it might seem an advantage, the fact that you only get to pass in one single step and then you become funded, while I understand this advantage, at the same time, I always want to think about the reason why I would pick a one-step account and not a two-step account. And all the time, I reach personally, right? All the time when I ask myself this question, why would I take a one-step challenge account and not a two-step challenge account? Every time, my answer that I give to myself is because I want to pass faster. So if this is the answer that I'm giving to myself, it means that I'm in a rush. And if I see that I'm in a rush to make money, FOMO tells you it's time to slow-mo, okay? I've said this in a previous stream, And I'm just going to say it again, because it's just the truth, you know. More often than not, it happened to me, so that whenever I was in a rush, I actually ended up having results that I did not desire. And I don't want to repeat that. Can you show an example on how you will trade SMT continuation? Yeah, I'm going to trade SMT continuation. If, for example, gold is going to stay into whatever bullish fair value gap it finds around here, okay? And while gold is doing that, so let's just assume that we're going to see gold doing this, okay, and then starting to reject off of that. During the time when gold makes this push to the downside and finds support into whatever bullish fair value gap to the left side, silver would actually go down, sweep sell side. That's how I would take it. That's the only way in which I would take a continuation long, based on my rules. I'm not saying it's the only way, okay? I'm not, really. I'm doing these live streams to show how I'm trading, not looking for new ways to trade. I'm not looking to tell you, or I'm not claiming that the way I trade, it's the best way. No, definitely. I'm sure it's not. But for me, it proved out to be a set of rules that I can easily follow, because I know exactly what I'm waiting for in order to take a trade, and I will only take a trade if those things happen. Second, I have a logic behind the way I interpret price action, which to me, personally, it's extremely important. Not only that I have a logic, I didn't borrow the logic from someone else. Because if I borrowed the logic from someone else, it means it's not my logic. And there's a big chance that I'm not really understanding the mechanics behind the set of rules that I'm using. And I might not have a good understanding of why a setup might actually fail. Therefore, I might not have a good understanding of ways in which I could fix that kind of stuff. Okay? Link for royalty-free music, no copyright music. M trades. I don't. Did you give it to me? Did you send the link? You can actually send me the link on Telegram, okay? By the way, guys, if you ever want to ask me anything outside these live streams, okay, you can do so by DMing me on Telegram. You're going to find my contact details in the description of every video that I have on YouTube. And also you're going to find those in the About section on my YouTube channel. Do I have any discount codes for FundedNext? I used to have one, but I'm not sure if it works. As far as I know, you should get a discount. Last time, it was supposed to be 12% if you use the link in the description, my link. But they've made some changes. I'm not really sure if it's still going to give you a discount or if it's going to be 12%, but that's what it's supposed to be. But like I said, I'm not sure if it still is that way. So in the description of this live stream, you're going to find more information about the, you're going to find the link for opening up an account with FundedNext, getting a challenge from them. I really, really advise you guys to not jump directly into buying a challenge account, okay? And I recommend you do that with every prop firm, okay? Don't ever jump directly into buying a challenge account until you get used or until you get really knowledgeable about the trading conditions that they offer. And when I say trading conditions that they offer, you have to think, do I usually keep trades overnight And if you do, you have to see if the prop firm allows you to keep trades overnight on the challenge that you will choose. Do I usually have a trade open before high impact news, or do I used to trade high impact news? If your answer is yes, you have to make sure that the prop firm is allowing you to do that with the challenge account type that you're going to choose. Also, trading conditions means getting used to the spread, getting used to whatever commissions you might get with every trade that you open, okay? And just be aware of the fact that while commissions usually do not fluctuate depending on the asset that you're trading, the spread is going to greatly fluctuate. So you also have to be aware of the spread that prop firm is offering for the assets that you're usually trading. Okay, so just make sure that you're going to get used to these trading conditions and that you know exactly what you're playing with before you actually get to play with it. Okay. Do you ever got a problem when claiming payout? Never. Never. There was one time, there was an incident, okay, where it was I think it was back in June or July, I don't remember exactly, but there was this incident where I was in profit for the day and I closed my trades, and then I also closed my laptop, and then I go on my phone, access my dashboard in FundedNext, and then I see that in the dashboard it was showing that I failed my challenge, and I was like, what? Because I didn't. Okay, and it was showing that I have open trades which are deeply in a drawdown. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Because I closed these trades with a substantial profit. And I don't have any other trades open and I made profit for the day. I'm not failing my challenge. And then it turned out I contacted their customer support team. Nobody seemed to answer. And then it turned out that the location, the country, it was an African country, and I don't remember what country it was. It turned out that the location where they had their customer support teams, their servers and whatever, it turns out that there was a riot in that country and that the internet was off in the entire country. Like I said, it was a African country as far as I remember. And they really had server issues because of that, and everything just was not working anymore. And it took them, I think, 3 days to fix the whole thing. And after these 3 days, or during these 3 days, there were a lot of people who were making payouts and whatever. And they've topped those payouts with an additional $1,000 because they have this brand promise. That's how they call it, a brand promise, that if you make a payout and if it's going to take them longer than 24 hours to process your payout for reasons that are not your fault and not their fault either, they are going to top up your payout with an additional $1,000. And it's exactly what they did. And I remember that month, there were 170 people, give or take, that requested payouts. So they had payouts being topped up with an additional $170,000, $1,000 for each. I remember it was a really big frenzy on their Discord channel about this whole thing. They really respect their brand promise and whatever. And actually, they really did. I mean, they really did, you guys. It was amazing. Okay, look at this thing right now, okay? If silver, it's going to stay in this fair value gap that I drew here, find support here, and let's say gold is going to go under that low, we might actually see a confirmation to go higher, a continuation to go up. This confirmation wouldn't make that much sense, but we can actually make it work. And why am I saying that it wouldn't really make sense, but we can actually make it work? It's because of the following reason. If we would see gold creating a lower low and silver creating a higher low, because silver stays inside a bullish fair value gap, This is a bullish reversal fair value gap. Bullish reversal for SMT, sorry. It would be a bullish reversal SMT for gold, right? But I have to think about the following thing. How can something which is already bullish reverse bullish? Well, at this point, we wouldn't interpret this SMT as being a reversal to the upside because, like I said, something which is bullish can't reverse bullish. Only something which is bearish can reverse bullish, right? But it would actually be a sign that maybe this bearish pullback is coming to an end, and that right now we might actually see price continuing to go higher. Because we're looking at gold creating a lower low, if this is going to happen, okay? We don't know if it's going to happen yet. Since we're looking at gold creating a lower low, I would not take a trade unless I would actually see that SMT being confirmed by a bullish fair value gap. And because we're in the middle of a move right here, we're not at the top doing that, whatever. It just made some sort of a pullback. Okay, and it's making a lower low while silver is making a higher low. Okay, then I would not necessarily want that this SMT be confirmed by a 5-minute fair value gap, bullish fair value gap. I would settle with a 1-minute fair value gap, but I need to see the fair value gap and the rebalance of it. Okay, and if I don't see that, I don't like it. I won't go long. So for now, we have this. And then we got this. And obviously, even if price will create in here a 1-minute bullish fair value gap and then tap it, I'm not going to go long immediately as that fair value gap is tapped. Okay? I'm going to wait for a rejection candle, a bullish candle to form after that fair value gap is being tapped. So this Tuesday. You know, ICT many times said that Tuesday or Wednesday, the latest, the high or the low of the week is going to form. We'll see if that's the case. Today or tomorrow or whenever. Okay, so we have this. The minor SMT divergence, which indicates we might see gold resuming the bullish move. The minor SMT divergence is being confirmed by a bullish fair value gap. Now we have to wait for price to tap the fair value gap and find support inside of it. Okay? And that's when I will have the confirmation to go long. And if we go to the 1-hour chart, where's your target, Alex? Where is your target? I don't know what my target is going to be. Probably it's going to be that high over there because I'm trading on the 1 minute. I'm not necessarily expecting very big rewards. Okay, so say I'm going to enter around, I don't know, whatever this candle is going to close. Let's say 29.18. Until that high, there's 29.22. So $4, 40 pips. If I'm going to take 2 contracts, I'm going to risk about $600 to make $800, something like that. But we don't know if we're going to get an entry. Okay, so the entry might never come. Okay, thank you. Someone sent me the link to royalty-free music, so we're going to be listening to lo-fi music tomorrow during the live stream. Yay! Because I think right now, I'm not sure, but I think there is some sort of a background noise coming from my house. I think that there is, because I have a door open and you can hear the noise coming from the street. Because I live in the middle of the city. And there's a lot of noise. I would have loved to see Because, you know, I can see that there is this thing over here. I can see it, okay? I'm not blind. There's no actual reasoning for me to take it. Unless we would turn this bullish fair value gap into a plum. Do you guys remember what a plum is for me? A plum is a bullish fair value gap that got inverted. And I use the name plum because plums are purple, and I use color purple for, you know, to highlight an inversion fair value gap, a bullish one that got inverted. Right now it's not the case, but I see this SMT divergence over here that I just drew. Gold making a lower high, silver making a higher high, plus silver, besides the fact that it made a higher high, it also made a bearish fair value gap over here, okay? You know, at this point, I would not trade silver, okay? And at any point of my trading activity, I would never trade silver. And because I would not trade silver, and I would only default to trading gold, okay, I want to see the confirmation being given on gold, not on silver. For now, whoever wants to trade silver, okay, this SMT was confirmed by a bearish fair value gap. And if you would get a rejection off of the fair value gap, you can actually take a short trade. And you can target sell side area from here or even from here, okay? But I'm not trading silver, and I don't want to trade silver no matter what. And this whole thing on silver is actually happening after silver took out buy-sell liquidity. And if you guys don't know what buy-sell liquidity it took, just look at this whole area over here. Okay, so after sweeping that area, it just created that 5-minute possible short setup, which is not giving an entry confirmation yet. Okay, it's not. But for me personally, even if it's going to give an entry confirmation, I'm not taking it. Because I simply don't trade silver. I only trade gold. If we go to the 1 minute, we're going to see, remember that I was saying that we might actually get a bullish setup if gold will create that bullish fair value gap and then reject off of it. That's not the case anymore. Obviously, it's not the case anymore, okay? And you can clearly see why. And I would not consider right now that, oh, well, maybe if this fair value gap got reclaimed, right, so price would close back above it, and maybe you could consider going long. No, I wouldn't. Why? Because the low here was taken out. I would only consider this to be a reclaimed fair value gap only if price would have protected that low, okay? But it did not. So at this point, I don't think that we're going to get any long entry confirmation on the 1 minute or on whatever. But yeah, we might see a short entry confirmation based on whatever set of rules. But for me, it would only make me take it if price would reverse this 500. Candle didn't close yet, okay? Still 1 minute and 10 seconds or so until the candle will close. And that's the only moment when I'll consider whether it's still worth for me to take a short. Whether I do get an entry confirmation. How? If this candle will definitely close under that fair value gap. And it's going to be a very low risk trade. Low risk, not as in I'm risking so little because the trade has a big potential of going in my favor. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's a high probability trade. I'm saying that I'm just going to take a little risk with it. I'm just going to risk a little money. First of all, because I've already taken a loss. Okay, first of all. Second of all, because I don't know whether price on the 1 minute or whatever might actually eventually just create another bullish fair value gap that's going to respect and then go higher, and therefore making this bullish SMT divergence over here take price higher. I don't know that, right? So at this point I have a short entry confirmation, okay, on the 5 minutes, but I might also get a 1 minute bullish setup, which I didn't get yet. But it's not something that it's still not an option. It's still possible for me to see the formation of a bullish setup on the 1 minute, okay? And by the time that bullish setup might form on the 1 minute, my stop loss might get hit, okay? And I'm okay with that. That's why I'm only taking a small risk with this. So 29.14 is the entry, 29.1760-ish. It's the stop loss. So that's about 36 pips. Okay? And then we've got a 2R to reach this area, which it would make sense to reach there, but we'll see. All the time, try to never assume, oh, price will go there, price will do this, price will do that. Because whatever price will do, you don't know if it's going to still be valid from one candle to the other. Things can change rapidly from one candle to the other. Just always try to remember this. Okay? Always try to remember this. And your job as a technical analyst is to analyze the market from a technical standpoint. Technical means what? Using the same principles over and over again. With every setup, you're going to use the same principles. Okay? That's what technical means, in my opinion. And you're going to analyze everything that happens. Every candle. You're going to interpret the new candle or the new possible scenario that might be unfolding in front of you. You're going to interpret that in the light of the most recent price action that's happening on whatever time frame you've chosen to make it your entry time frame. And your entry time frame should not change, really. Maybe you could consider, okay, so if this happens, I'm going to enter on the 5 minutes. If that happens, I'm going to enter on the 1 minute. And I'm going to wait for confirmations on either one of these two time frames, right? You can definitely do that. Sometimes I increase to 15 minutes. But then everything adjusts to the fact that I'm taking a trade based off of a confirmation of a slightly bigger time frame than my normal. So when I say everything adapts, what do I mean? My stop loss adjusts. If my stop loss is bigger because the time frame of my entry is bigger, obviously my lot size will decrease. Why? To make sure that with every trade that I take, I'm not going to risk more than this amount of money from my entire account balance. And you really have to do this if you're trading with your own funds, if you're trading with prop firms, accounts. It doesn't really matter. Okay, you just have to use the same things over and over and over again, as in same time frame for your higher time frame bias, same time frame for your entries, same set of rules for your confirmations, same risk per trade, stop after you lose this much for the day, stop after you win this much for the day. Okay, and that's really subjective to each and every one of you. But you guys have to create these rules for yourselves, and you really have to stick to them, because if you don't do it, you're not going to know at the end of the week, at the end of the month, or whatever, what you need to adjust with your strategy. Okay? You won't know. And it's really such a pity to not know. Okay, what are you guys saying? Can we get more likes, chat? Yeah, I think, thank you. Really, can we get more likes? I think pretty much the biggest majority of the people in the chat already liked the stream. But what you guys can do, I'm sure that each and every one of you has at least one person that you know that it's also a trader. And you can actually share the link of this live stream with that person. Oh my God. Yeah, you can actually do that. Reverse the 5-minute time frame BC, then came back to it and reject. Yeah, that's what it did. It reversed the 5-minute BC, turned it into a plum. Bearish, bullish fair value gap right now inversed. But honestly, I really want, like, for my own calmness and for my, you know, to have like a peace of mind that price indeed will want to go lower. I would like to see silver going beyond this low over here. I would really love to see it do that, showing a willingness to go under that low so that it will not stay in a SMT with gold anymore. I really want to see it do that. That would be good. I don't know if you say my question, but when looking at the 1-hour chart, I'm seeing consolidation in price. Does this have to do with being March? Yeah, I'm also looking at the 1-hour and I see consolidation. And yes, it might actually have to do a lot with being March. Okay, let's see if silver will actually just go under this low over here. It would be really nice if it would do that, you guys. Really nice. Many, I already hear people say, oh, it's rejecting from a bullish order block. Yeah, it might. It might. But that would not necessarily mean that I need to take a long. Okay. Because I don't know if it will reject. And if it will reject, I will only know after the fact. And that might actually be already too late for me. And besides this, I don't trade based off of order blocks that are taking like that. I don't know. But yeah, price might reject from here. It might. So what I don't really like is the fact that we're still into some form of SMT in here, you see? Because silver still isn't showing a very clear sign of going under that low. I would really like for gold to go, for silver to go under that low, honestly. It would give me a little more peace of mind. I don't know. Okay. May you spill out your mechanical SOP to trade SMT XAU versus XAG. Spill out my mechanical SOP. Please explain to me what SOP means, because I don't know. And yeah, I'll spill out my mechanics, even though I've already done that in my previous streams. But don't worry, I'll do it again. But I need to know what is SOP, because maybe you're referring to something specific that I'm not aware of. And then my explanation would actually change depending on whatever your SOP means. Standard operating procedure. Okay, so let's say that I'm taking a short trade, okay? I'm always looking to trade gold, right? So if I see gold creating a higher high and silver creating a lower high, to me, at this point, I don't know whether gold creating that higher high is a break of structure to the upside or it's a liquidity sweep and then might actually turn down, right? It's going to be confirmed to me as being a liquidity sweep if after gold created the higher high, would create a bearish fair value gap. And then as it goes up into the fair value gap, I want to see it rejecting off of it, and that's my entry confirmation to go short. So this, in this case, gold creating a higher high, silver creating a lower high would be a bearish reversal SMT divergence, okay? And it really works, especially when you look to the left side of the chart on higher time frames, and you're going to see that price swept buy-side liquidity above previous old highs or relatively equal highs or whatever, okay? Because usually reversals, this being an SMT reversal divergence, usually reversals happen after liquidity is swept on a higher time frame, okay? The other way I would do it is if I would see gold creating a top, and in here it created a fair value gap. Then it goes up into the fair value gap and rejects off of it. Therefore, it created a lower high. At the same time, silver is creating a higher high, and it rejects from after it took the buy side above that high. So I have gold creating a lower high because it finds resistance into an existing bearish fair value gap. And then I see silver creating a higher high and then rejecting after creating that higher high. So to me at this point, this would be an entry confirmation to go short, okay? Of course, there are some more details to, like how old should this fair value gap be? It should not, in my opinion, be older than, I don't know, 20, 30 candles. It really depends on the time frame you're looking at. If you're going to look at the 5 minutes, make sure your fair value gap is not older than 20, 30 candles. If you're going to look on the 1 hour, it's definitely going to be a lot fresh, you know, a lot fresher, right? But still, it should not exceed, I don't know, being older than 20, 30 candles, whatever. So yeah, that's the way. This is my SOP, standard operating procedure, for SMT. Okay. Let's remove all the drawings and go to the 1 minute, see what's going on. See, I don't like this thing. I really don't like it. I don't like the way things have developed in here, because I really would have wanted to see silver also showing a willingness to go lower than that low. Okay, which this low over here, okay, coincides to that low. We can definitely see gold going significantly lower under that low, okay, but silver, not really. So this might be this type of SMT. Gold creating a lower low, therefore it's sweeping sell side if it creates a bullish fair value gap after that and rejects from the fair value gap. At the same time, with gold creating a lower low, silver creates a higher low. So you get my point. Okay, I'm seriously considering, we're still like 20 seconds, until the current 1 minute candle will close. If it's going to close in some form that's going to make me think that it's rejecting from this fair value gap, or if I'm going to see the next candle just starting to develop bullish, I think I'm going to collapse half of my trade. Yeah, and of course, the candle it closes it has a bullish body, but doesn't really show a lot of bullishness because of the rejection from the wick to the top side. Okay, it would only be natural for me to close my trade if we close above this high. Okay, so I'll wait for a candle to close above that high, because it might just poke it and then reject lower. And if it does that, I don't want to bring my stop loss just above that high, because like I said, it could poke it and then just go lower. Okay, and if that happens, I don't want to be tagged out and only to then see it moving lower. But if price will close above that high, I will consider. And you know, by all means, yes, of course, there's also the possibility of price creating like a huge bullish candle here on the 1 minute and closing above that high and touching my stop loss at the same time, whatever. Of course, that's also a possibility. And it's a possibility, it's an option in which I wouldn't have, like, my hands would be tied, okay? I wouldn't have any room, any time to react. So it means that in that situation, it might actually just take me out, and that's it. That's why stop loss exists. Okay, you guys, more people seem to be coming into the live stream. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Yeah, you gotta like it. You have some buttons there, which look like this. Make sure to use them. Or you can use the down button, you know, like, I don't like it. That's fine. If you don't like it, just say so. And if you like it, just say so. Or whatever. Make it seem like you do. I think it would be beneficial that from now on, I come up with a subject to talk about. Like, for example, because you see, my trading strategy, the one that I'm using on the 5 minutes, that I'm using in these live streams, it's pretty boring. Okay, let's face it, it's pretty boring. I use pretty much the same thing over and over again. And if there's going to be mainly kind of like the same people coming into these live streams, maybe you're going to hear me say my strategy 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then you're going to figure it out what it is, right? So I can't just repeat what my entry SOP, my standard operating procedure is with every live stream. At one point, there's going to come a time when, you know, I just won't repeat it again because I've already said it so many times. And I think that it would actually be beneficial, and you guys can let me know in the chat what you think. It would be beneficial, or let me know if it would be beneficial, that with every live stream, I come up with some sort of a discussion subject that we could discuss, something related to psychology. Not necessarily psychology aspects that would only apply in trading, but psychology aspects that could also be applicable in your day-to-day life. And you could pretty much just adjust them, bend them to your own needs, and apply them in your trading activity. What do you guys think? You can type a Y, letter Y, like that. Not X, okay? Just a Y in the chat if you think that that would actually be helpful, beneficial, engaging, whatever. Oh my God, no one's typing anything. No one's typing anything. That's fine. I'll do it anyways. I just wanted to know your opinion. But, you know, after all, it's my live stream, so I can talk whatever I want in it. Okay, so this eventually turned into a plum as well, didn't it? Like that. And we want this to be turned into a plum as well, but it might not. Whatever, we'll see. Okay, honestly, at this point, I'm going to consider closing half of my trade. Why? Because we got this rejection candle off of this fair value gap, this one, the previous 1 minute candle. Okay, so half of my trade is out with a loss of 13 pips. It's just not my day, guys. I should stop looking for short setups, but it's just the only thing that's being confirmed for now. At the opposite side, we would be looking at a trade like this. with the confirmation on the 1 minute based on the factors that I told you a little earlier, okay? Because we would already have the entry confirmation. But I'm not going to take the long, okay? Just so you know, I'm not taking it because I've already got the short confirmation on the 5 minutes once it inversed this BISI. And it's either going to tag me out or not. I'm trying to be transparent here and show you, because you know, many times when we look at people showing us charts, setups, trades that happen in hindsight, okay, they're just going to cherry pick only those situations or those occurrences where their you know, where their strategy worked. But if you're going to backtest, therefore you're going to go through all the setups that might actually form inside that specific time that you're backtesting, you will actually see that there's going to be a lot of losing setups, okay, as well. And you might actually reach the conclusion that whatever that person was presenting as being a profitable strategy, and it was showing you examples of trades, profitable trades in hindsight, those were actually just cherry picked. And if that's the case, most likely during your backtestings, you're not going to have very good results. Okay? Why? Because during backtesting, you're taking all the setups that are going to form based on that set of rules, and you're not going to cherry pick only the ones that worked because you don't know which ones will work, right? But trades that worked and that you see being presented in hindsight, just go back into that piece of price action and see whether there was another confirmation that looked similar prior to the confirmation that the person in question is showing you, and see whether that would have ended up in a loss. And then just ask yourself, why isn't this being shown? Right now, I'm showing you, based on my set of rules, we got a short entry confirmation on the 5 minutes, okay? And then we got a long entry confirmation on the 1 minute. It doesn't mean that you need to take every setup that's being confirmed. You have to stay loyal to a trade that's being developing, okay? And decide whether a 5 minute confirmation is less important to you than a 1 minute confirmation. To me, at this point, I want to decide that it's not less important. Therefore, I don't want to close my short trade, which was confirmed on 5 minutes, to take my long trade, which was confirmed on the 1 minute. Okay? I did decide to take half of my risk off the table with a minor loss, just in case the 1 minute long would have eventually trumped the 5 minute short. Okay? It's just called trade management. I told you in the previous streams, whenever you open a trade, that's merely when your job as a trader begins. When you open the trade, your job as a trader does not end. Your job is not to wait for the setup, click buy or sell, and then wait. No. Your job as a trader starts after you have a trade. Okay? Before you open the trade, that entire process of you analyzing charts, marking them, looking at levels, waiting for confirmations, all of that process, you're not being a trader there. You're not trading. You're waiting. You're analyzing. That's your role as a technical analyst. Okay? And after your analysis tells you that, yes, it's time for you to take a trade, and yes, you open the trade, that's when your job as a trader begins. And the job of a trader is to manage his trade. Okay? Managing the trade doesn't only refer to the moment just before you open the trade, deciding your lot size or your contract size or your stop loss placement or your take profit. Okay? Those are things, characteristics of your trade. But it doesn't mean that that's all that you need to do with your trade. Decide stop loss, take profit, and lot size. No, you need to actively be engaged, see what's going on. Are there any opposite confirmations, opposite to my trade idea, that would actually, they should not occur should the price continue to go in my favor? That's what you have to ask yourself every step of the way. Okay, that's what you need to ask yourself. Right now, for example, okay, my eyes can't help but see, okay, I can't prevent my eyes from seeing this minor SMT in here. I can't help my eyes preventing from seeing it, from seeing this. Okay? And if price is going to go and really close sharply above this high, I might actually consider closing the other half of my trade, even though it might not actually reach stop loss. And then I'll just reconsider why or what could I have done better with my trading executions today. I already have something in mind, right? But I'll just have to wait and see whether that's going to be confirmed or not. And yes, most likely that's eventually going to be confirmed. But unless the confirmation of my idea, like what am I doing wrong today, or not necessarily wrong, but what could I do better? Okay? When you ask yourself, what can I do better? You actually ask yourself that from a position of empowerment, because while you admit the fact that you did wrong, you do not lock yourself into the idea that you're a failure. Why? Because you open yourself up to improvement. Okay? And you can never be a failure when you open yourself up to improvement, right? So instead of asking yourself, what did I do wrong with this trade? Ask yourself, what could I do next time to improve my execution? Okay? Ask yourself that. It's really, really important. I listened today to a podcast. I listened it 2 times. It was actually not a podcast, but more like a thing on YouTube Music. Some sort of a fragment from a podcast, whatever, which really talked about the way we ask questions and how powerful it can be to ask the right questions. How we can ask close-ended questions like I said, well, questions that you would answer with yes or no. Can I improve next time with something in here? The answer is yes. And that's it, right? You're not invited, through the nature of the question that you're asking, you're not inviting yourself to look for ways of improvement, right? But if I would ask myself, like, what did I did wrong this time? I'm already confirming to myself that I'm a failure, okay? Without actually knowing that I'm creating that opinion about myself, to myself. And it really helps for you to have this ability of asking yourself questions that will actually open yourself up for improvement, not to confirm the fact that you made a mistake. You can already see that. It's in the result. You don't need a reiteration of that. You don't need to repeat that to yourself. You've already seen that, okay? So you don't really have to beat yourself up for that. Rather, ask yourself, what can I do next time to improve my execution? What can I do next time to lose less money? What can I do next time to bring more value to this live stream? Right? Okay, it's already becoming pretty obvious that price might not actually continue. to go down. So I've collapsed my trade. Like so. Sorry. Like so. Okay, so right now I'm out of the short. And I've got 2 losses for the day, and I'm done for the day. Okay? I'm pretty much done. Now, what I'm asking myself at this point is, if I would have taken this long on the 1 minute, what could I have done better? Or what factors, what details could I have paid attention to have a better stop loss placement, to make sure that I'm not just being tagged out and then price would continue to go up, would actually start to go up. Okay, if I would have taken this long trade in here, I'll just remove the short from there. Okay, this is the kind of question that I would ask myself if I would have taken this long and it would just take me out and then only to continue to move in my favor. And the thing that I could find right now would be something that I always say. If your order block never was touched by the entry candle, okay, then you should definitely consider placing your stop loss at the midpoint or right under the order block. So at this point, considering that this might have been the order block, okay, we could also consider that this is the order block. You see these 2 bearish candles, and that would also be correct. Like so. Okay, if this is my order block and price did touch it, okay, it might really not be any reason for which I would consider that price might actually want to go deeper into the order block. Okay, so yeah, no, reconsidering this, I would have had a good stop loss placement. I wouldn't change it here. I wouldn't. I would only change it if I would consider only this candle to be the order block, but I wouldn't. At this point, I would not consider only this candle to be the order block. I would consider both of them. So yeah, I would not have changed anything. So if I would have taken the long on the 1 minute, that would have ended up in a loss, only to then go up. And it is what it is. I accept that. It is what it is, you guys. $2R is going to be around here, okay? The normal $2R. When I would have considered taking some of the profits off and then letting it go for buy side areas, which first one to come is here. And then the other one would be higher, and then obviously there are some levels that are marked higher up, but I'm not really sure if we're going to see price stretching so much today, honestly. I don't know. Maybe it will, you know. Okay, you guys, so given the fact that we're already for 2 hours in this live stream, and I'm pretty much done for today, okay? 2 losses, and that's fine. I'll stop for the day. I hope you guys learned something new from this live stream. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to do that. If you have suggestions, you're gonna have the comment section. You can definitely put some suggestions in there. Tomorrow we're gonna have some background music in here. I hope I'm just gonna make that work. I hope it's not gonna give me a headache or something like that, because usually it's really important for me to listen to very neutral music while I'm trading. Right now I don't have any background music or any type of music, but yeah, I'll see how the music is from there and what we're gonna pick, what we're gonna choose for tomorrow's live stream. So again, tomorrow we're gonna see each other here at 9 a.m. New York time. Talk to you guys. Bye.